Good afternoon, Your Worship and councillors. Don't usually put submissions in, but this one being had a career in infrastructure, I felt I was obliged to. Water done well requires council as the owner, I emphasise the owner, to implement a business model to provide perpetual economic, efficient, resilient and sustainable water infrastructure. And those words are important. Water infrastructure has been a total local government responsibility since 1989. As chair of the National Infrastructure Advisory Board about a decade ago, as we were providing a 30-year plan for infrastructure for the national government at the time, water infrastructure was red flagged throughout the country. This came from annual auditing by the Audit Office, showing that there was the general depreciation of standards in water infrastructure around the country. They were continuously seeking support from government for funding, and that was mainly because the RMA was causing real costs for complying with environment, and the Havelock North situation pushed it over the edge with a health scare. Local water done well prompts council to seriously address their responsibilities for water infrastructure. I support the initiative, and for too long water services has not had a priority in government, and I've seen that as both as a designer, as a local government executive in Southland, and also as a contractor. The issue of stormwater and as part of Three Waters, I think your last discussion emphasised it, is so much integrated with your community, and therefore I advocate that it should remain as part of a council function, because it's not defined. It's far too complex to separate out as an identifiable asset, and there needs to be strategic priorities. I have warned this council before when I was invited to a discussion that there are some huge challenges coming towards you in terms of stormwater, and principally around its discharge into the environment. Runoff from roads, contamination, water quality, flooding and drainage are all big issues which are in the future, and therefore are going to have to be addressed. So I advocate the Two Waters concept for the proposal of what might be in-house or Two Waters. I found the consultation document underwhelming, does not give a justifiable argument for the in-house model. There was no adequate explanation or justification supporting the current in-house model, or explanation of any initiatives to improve the capability or efficiencies in the future. The current operation deserves to have its business adequacy highlighted. Planning, funding, performance, systems, regulatory conformance, people resources, for justification to be the preferred option. There is no rational performance measurability outlined other than scope and volumes. Funding seems to imply that comfort with general and non-transparent rating is favoured. No mention of growth and demand funding from development contributions. If the current management and operations establishment is achieving water done well, or can be modified to achieve it, why not be transparent and skite about it? To aspire to water done well expectations, the best approach is to put Two Waters into a CCO. Two Waters is a $500 million a year business. That's come from your draft annual plan budgets. Line infrastructure from source to service for healthy water. Line infrastructure from source to environment for wastewater. Identifiable customers favours user pay models, with transparency for both service and community values for health and environment. Two Waters CCO provide leadership through governance, management, capable operations, technical expertise, financial sustainability with clear responsibility, performance expectations, measurable accountability and transparency. The council owns Enable, Orion, Airport, International Airport and Port Lyttelton. I ask the question, are all these well done? Are they well led, managed and operated? Is the community and customers satisfied? To I answer that yes, yes, yes and maybe. Important point. Infrastructure requires people and systems to make them function well. A CCO with its own identity, responsibilities, leadership will be attractive to a sustainable team of people and advanced systems. I had experience of this when I was in Southland. We had the Transit Act come through. We had a very large roading operation. We were forced to create a local authority and trading enterprise, which is the forerunner for CCOs. We were the first in the country to do it. A lot of people come and copied us. That late became South Roads. The council kept it for 4.5 years. It was a traded contracting operation. This is not a contracting operation. CCO is not a contracting operation. But that is still operating today, 30 years later, as a viable business within the South Roads company. It shows you what the same people can basically do. So in summary, local water done well is an aspiration. Two Waters is a mature infrastructure which demands leadership, systems, capability, transparent value for money, and to be resilient, sustainable long term. A CCO with good leadership and structure and resourced with capable people is the best model for Christchurch City with a population of nearly 400,000. A CCO is not contracting out. It is a business model focused on best infrastructure for community needs. Thank you for the opportunity to present today.
Thank you very much, Lindsay. You've used up all your time. There's 2 questions. Are you... Yeah, serious one. Is that right?
Thanks so much, Lindsay. Just wondering on your perception of how good either a council or a CCO is, depending on the instructions they're given. So, for example, councils didn't get directed with standards and those kind of things that they had to meet with their water infrastructure by central government, and that's one of the reasons they didn't do it. Is there potential just for, and like councils are doing better now, for the instructions to be clearer from central government, the standards that have to be met, just like you would do with a CCO?
Yes, what I said is from your consultation documents, I couldn't judge how good it is now. I've got some impressions because I was a judge for Canterbury Contractors competitions for 6 years, so I saw a lot of projects being done. I'm also involved with a couple of contractors at present, and I get feedback from that. So yeah. I've got no real opinion of how well it's done. How good are their asset management plans, their strategic planning, their financial accountability, their performance in terms of delivering plans, responses and all that. There's no measurability, nothing to explain to us as to how good they are now. And that's why I think you've actually, this report's actually done a disservice to those people for not explaining that. Now, you may have better information, more information to make your decision. Yeah. But also I would have expected that, there is opportunity for looking forward. And that's where I tend to look. I always look forward, having come from my business background. You're saying, what can we do and how do we be better all the time? Because that's right. It's been a commercial world where I've come from. But this is not necessarily a commercial world. It is delivering the best service. So how good are the systems that they work to in terms of a lot of their technical systems as well as operational systems and whatever. So the opportunity is there to do that. But what you do need to do, and I think this is very clear, and this is where we found out under the roading system, was when you separated out the asset ownership and management from the doing and the delivery and the expectations of that, it had a clear barrier. And you'll see in my submission that I do say that good responsibilities allocated to various bodies with some tension is good. Yeah. And so if you can do that with your in-house model, maybe. But I advocate going to a full commercial model because it allows you to the other part it does, it allows you to separate your water charges from rating and gives the public transparency of what's the real cost of delivering that, turn the tap on in the morning, flush the toilet.
Cool, thanks.
Okay, I think that's a very important part that and one of the failings that has happened that we found in the National Infrastructure Advisory Board was councils, when they got this shock of we need this amount of money for doing this, and it suddenly come on them, we need this, upgrade this sewage plant or do this water treatment plant or something like that. It affected their cash flow, so they had to worry about rates. They didn't have the borrowing headroom and all the rest of it to get over it. Here, what we're doing here with a CCO with its own borrowing and all the rest of it, it can do that.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much for coming in. Good to see you. Nathan, please.